Hello everyone, welcome back to my session on Python. Today I am going to tell you about the data types in Python. So before telling about the data types, you should know what are data types. When you are writing the code, you should understand or you should tell your code that you are going to store certain type of data. If you are going to store number, then the data type will be integer. If you are going to store a decimal, the data type will be float. If you are going to store a boolean, that is true or false, then the data type will be boolean. If you are not storing anything in a variable, then you can declare it as none. None in Python means empty. Empty or blank or whatever it indicates, none means nothing. If you want to store a word or a string, you can say string data type. In list, you can store a collection of data. Collection of data means you can store roll number of all the students, name of all the students. You can store employee names, employee IDs, or you can store the order IDs in a particular day, the list of all order IDs in a particular day. And the benefit of the list is list supports duplicates and list supports multiple data types. The list in detail, or I can tell like strings, list, tuple, set, and dictionary. All these 5 topics I'll be explaining in detail, but for now, just understand that there is a data type in Python called list, which will accept duplicates. And whenever you're storing the value using list, the condition that you have to remember is it should be starting with a square braces. Anything that is there in square braces is a list in Python. Now, coming to tuples. Tuples are nothing but it is similar to that of list. Here also you can store multiple data values in a tuple, but once you define this tuple, you cannot change. And how the tuples are indicated? Tuples are indicated by a normal brace, a common brace. Next comes the set. Set is also used to store multiple values, but the thing about set is set will not accept duplicates. Accept duplicates means you should be very clear on this. When you're writing the code, duplicates will be accepted in the IDE. In the PyCharm, when you're writing, when you're declaring a set and when you're storing the data, duplicates will be accepted. But when the code gets executed, the duplicates will be removed and you'll be seeing in the output. Okay, this is the thing you have to remember. And other thing about the set is how to identify a set. If you want to identify a set, set is identified by a flower brace. If you see, these are the flower braces which indicates it is a set in Python. Then the last data type that I'm going to discuss is dictionary. Dictionary, it is also called as dict. What is this for? This is used to store two sets of data like name of the person and his name, rule number of the rule number and the rule number value, the grade and grade value, company, company name. Like this, you can store multiple sets of data in a dictionary. Okay, let us see how to do all this, how to write the code for all this. So for you to understand this concept of data types, I have created a Python file called datatypes.py. Now in this, I am going to create a class data types demo. And in this, I am going to create a function def data types function. Now, once I have the class and the function initialized, now I am going to store some values. Let us first start with integer. I am saying int data type. I'll say data type as dt. Okay. Int dt. So this is the variable name. In this, I am storing 10. What does this mean? This, see, in Python, you no need to tell Python what type of data that you are going to store. Like if you see in Java, you have to say int I equal to 10. In this, you have to tell your Java code that this is an integer, this is a variable name, this is a value you're going to store. But this is not needed in Python. In Python, once you store the data, Python will be deciding on what type of data it is. What is the data type? It will decide on its own. How to get to know that, I'll tell you in the next steps. But if you want to store an integer, you can just give the name of the variable and store it as 10. So Python will be deciding that this is an integer. I want to store float. So float dt, I'm saying like 25.5. So when I save this, when I write this code, Python will be deciding that FDT is a float type of data type. Then I can say Boolean. So let us say BTD, or you can say Boolean is generally in real time, it is related to flag. So I'm storing it as true. Okay. Next I have is, what is the next one? It is none data type. None data type is nothing but, you can say n data type equal to, you can say none. When you declare a variable and when you say none, then in this NDT, nothing is going to store. It is blank. Now, why we need this? Why we need this is because in real time, when you're coding the application, when you're writing some code, there will be a need where you have to declare a variable and use it later part of your code. In such a situation, you have to first initialize a variable for which you do not have a value. So in that case, you can tell your code first take a variable ndt and save nothing in it. Later on, I'll use it when I need it. That is how you're going to handle this none. Next, what is the next data type? String. String is used to store, let us say s1 is equals to, I'm storing, this is a first string variable in Python, let us say. So S1 is a string data type. How did I know? I'm storing a sentence or a word. If you store a word also, that can be made as a string data type. Next, I have a list. So I'm going to declare a list called L1 and I'm going to assign a value into this. Now, how do I say this is list? By looking at the square braces. So I'll be storing like 11, 12, 13, 14. I can also store, so I can also store a word, means a string I can store a decimal, I can store a Boolean. Like this, I can store anything in a list. Similarly, I am going to tell you about tuple. So I'm going to declare a tuple. So I'm saying T1 equal to, here tuple is indicated by a normal brace. So I'm going to store 21, 22, 23. Like this, I can store here also, I can store coding, something like coding, and I can store true. I can store a decimal also. Like this, I can store the values. And coming to the next one, it is a set. So in set, how do I represent a set? By a flower brace. So in this, I am going to store the values of 34, 35, and I told you it doesn't accept duplicates. But remember, when I'm entering the value of duplicates here, it doesn't throw any error. It doesn't throw any error. But see, I have 34 repeated twice. But now, if I run this code, this 34, which is repeated twice, will be displayed only once. Okay, you can add few more numbers also. You can say 39 like this. You can add any number of values. Okay. Now, once this is done, I'll execute this and show you that it will be removing duplicate. Just hold on. And the next and the last data type that we are going to discuss is dict or dictionary. So I'm going to say as D1, and I don't want to make this name as set. I'm saying set variable. Okay. So next is D1. In this, how do we represent a dictionary? By a flower brace. Now you may be asking, like, there is a flower brace for set and there is a flower brace for dictionary also. How do we differentiate? So you have to remember that when you are using a dictionary, you will be giving two sets of data. Okay, like you'll be giving name, you'll be giving two sets of data, like you'll be giving name and then the name value. You can say, okay, and followed by roll number and then the roll number value. It is, and then you will have grade or something, and you can have the grade value. It is some say 12th. Like this, you can have the data. So even if set has a flower brace and even if a dictionary has a flower brace, you can segregate or you can understand these two, the difference between these two by the data that you are adding. Hope this is clear. Now, once we do this, let us print this. How to print it? You can print these values by directly calling it in the print statement. If I say T1, the tuple value is going to get displayed. If I run this code, okay, if I run this code, I'll be getting the tuple value. We did not get it because we did not call the function. We have to call the function. For calling the function, we have to write the main method. In my, details about the main methods, you can get it in my previous recording. Okay, so I can say name, how to declare the main method, how to use it, what is its benefits and all. You can get it in my previous recording. But now I'm declaring a main method and I'm saying main. And now here I'm going to create an object for the class. Once I create an object, using that object, I am going to call the function. Now in this function, what do I have? I have initialized many variables and I have printed the tuple. Now once I execute this code, I am going to get the output of tuple in my console. Okay, let us see the set value which we were interested in. Now I am saying that this will be removing the 34 which is repeated twice. One iteration of one value of 34 will retain and the other value will be deleted. Now if you see 34 is here and if you see after 35 we had another 34, but here in the output we do not see it. So what does it mean? Set will accept duplicates when you're writing the code, but when you're displaying or when the code gets executed, the duplicates values will be removed. Now, this is all about the data types and all, but one more thing that you should understand is when you are writing the code in real time, there will be a situation where you will be getting the data from some other system, like from database or from somewhere you will be getting the data. Now, if you want to understand what type of data that is, if you want to understand the data type, there is an option for you to know the data type. For example, set var is a set data type. I know it. But if I want to know via Python, I want to know what type of data it is. I can say print of, I can say type of the data types. Now what I'm doing, I'm asking my Python code to print the data type of what? Set var. I want to know the data type of set var. Now if I execute this code, I'm going to get the data type as set. If I say like I want the data type of a variable called flag, and if I execute this code, it is going to tell it is Boolean. Like this, you can know the data type of a given variable. If at all you are getting the data from external sources, sometimes in real time, we will not know the data type. To know this data type, we can use this type predefined function in Python. So this is all about the data type. I hope you like my video and you understood the concepts of data type. Thanks for watching. Let us meet in the next session.